We are back at the St. Paul Civic Center. We're between periods 2 and 3 of consolation play, and Minnetonka is leading Hibbing by a score of 4, or Hibbing rather, leading Minnetonka by a score of 4-3. And Lance Madsen has been in goal for Minnetonka, as we're going to take a look at Lance here. And actually, Lance played in goal some 18 games during the regular season, and then coming into this tournament, Dale Rail, a sophomore, was starting in goaltender, Tom, and a lot of folks were saying, well, why the change? Well, what happened was in one of the sectional games against Hopkins, Minnetonka was ahead 3-0. All of a sudden it was 3-3, and so they inserted Rail. He got hot, and all of a sudden he wound up being the starter. Well, now Madsen playing excellent hockey, is the only shutout of the tournament, and he's playing very well.
Hibbing has rotated their goaltenders throughout the year. John Hyduk in the nets today. Hyduk was also in goal when Hibbing lost to Hill Murray 4-3 in overtime, but he's doing very well today. 15 saves through 2 periods.
And of course, Hibbing coming into this tournament with the best goals against average as a team, a real fine defensive unit. Well, we have 1 period of hockey left in the consolation, barring overtime, of course. And let's turn it back upstairs now and bring in Chris Cuthbert and Herb Brooks.
And Herb, the shots on goal through 2 periods are even at 18 apiece, and it's been a pretty well played hockey game.
Yes, I think it has. I think that, as you said at the close of the second, Chris, a shorthanded goal really got Minnetonka into it. I think the Hibbing coach, Billy Olsen, has just sat down with his club and said, hey, let's go back to how we started this game with an intelligent, aggressive forechecking pattern. Let's play the game in their end. Let's be intelligent at that offensive blue line. Let's stay, not go offside. Don't turn the puck over and get back into the flow. They've got to do that right away because Minnetonka now has the momentum.
Anything else on your notepad there that you jotted down through the second period?
Well, all these little individual shorthanded things that I'm still trying to figure out.
Let's just review the scoring in that second period. After Jecka and Moralt traded goals in the first, John Rube put Hibbing ahead 2-1 at 3:07 of the second period, and then a flurry by the Blue Jackets. At 4:11, Sean Gostad from Moralt and Schwartz. 22 seconds later, it was Moralt from Sean Gostad, and it was 4-1, and it looked like Hibbing was pulling away, but the Minnetonka Skippers came back at 7:12. Frederick Holmner from John Albert, and then at 12:46, a shorthanded breakaway goal by Steve Schottler, who now has 5 points, and that is tied for the lead amongst a number of players for the state tournament scoring lead. So far, it looked like Anoka would own that after their first game when a number of players had 4 points, but since then Anoka was quietened down, and the scoring race really is up for grabs in the last 2 or 3 games of this state tournament. We've got 15 minutes of regulation time left. Minnetonka trailing by 1, but the Skippers have shown a lot of heart in this tournament.
Well, they sure have. You come back at 4-1, Chris, and you know you have to reach for something. But if they get off to a good start right now, I'd start slowing that thing down somehow to get them off that rhythm. Talk to the referee, break a stick, do something. But I think these first 5 minutes are going to be very important for Minnetonka.
Moralt clears it in over the line as we are underway with the third period. Minnetonka is in dark navy blue uniforms, while Hibbing is playing with the white uniforms with red and navy trim. It's cleared in by Bo Nikoloff of Hibbing, and they are trying to get that forechecking game started. The Blue Jackets are. Minnetonka trying to clear it out of the zone, and it comes out to outside the blue line. Now it's Tony Schmidt firing it down into the Hibbing zone. Back to get it is Tom Hansen. Smooth skating defenseman clears it around the boards as Minnetonka makes a line change. It is tipped out to center ice, and John Albert has it there, and he fires it right back in as both teams complete their line changes. Hibbing won the consolation title back in 1974. Of course, this is Minnetonka's first trip to the state tournament championship. Behind the net it goes. Dave Taylor tries to feed it back to the point. It's shot into the slot area. There's a shot just going wide off the stick of Taylor. First good scoring opportunity of this third period. Tony Schmidt clears it back in. That was almost the tying goal for the Skippers.
This is a line that's really going to help Minnetonka, this Renaud, Taylor, and Holmer line.
Good consistent line. They don't lead the team in scoring, but they give you a good shift every time out.
They have good balance, good feel for one another.
That's Holmner at the line. He's taken to the boards, but John Albert follows up, and this is Albert to the line. Good move, in shot, and he just whistled that by the post. Hyduk had to do the splits on that one. Now the puck out in front. It's loose. Here's Renard. Scores! Bob Renard
I mentioned that when Renard hit the pipe in the second period, that it just picked up the whole Minnetonka team. They've had the snap, they've had the forecheck, they've had the more creative chances with the puck and without the puck. They're forcing the turnovers, and they forced another turnover to get this goal. You see Tommy Renard staying with, muscling, putting his body in position. Again, good shot on the ice, far post.
Well, earlier in the game, it was line mate Frederick Holmner, and now Tom Renard scores. And that ties the hockey game at 4-4, and for Renard, it's his first goal of the tournament.
Chris, an unwritten rule in your defensive zone, when you get the puck at around that top of the circle, don't get too fancy. Don't thread the needle. Just get it out of the neutral zone. There's a lot of turnovers are caused right in there, and that's exactly what happened. Defenseman, very questionable percentage pass.
Here comes Minnetonka again. Jeff Pizzera in behind the net. Pizzera, along with Jeff Chris, trying to dig it free, but now back comes Hibbing into the center ice zone. That failed to collect. Greg Harrison knocked it to an open wing. Now some good contact in front of the Hibbing bench, and they get a whistle and a break in the action. We'll be right back with the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament.
Now you can fly non-stop to St. Petersburg, Tampa at a People Express price. Here comes the sun.
Chris, as I mentioned now, that these first 5 minutes very important for Hibbing. If they don't get back into this thing with some momentum, I'd find a way to just try to break Minnetonka's momentum.
Here comes Hibbing now. Great check behind the net by Dave Jecka, and they hold it for a face-off. Well, how do you do that?
Well, how you do that? Maybe change one person at a time on the ice. Go talk to the referee. And if you have to, you can even take your time out. But you can do a lot of things that will just slow this thing up somewhat. Take a little more time on the face-off, whatever. Have the goalie check his equipment. But they got to get Minnetonka off their game a little bit right now.
There's a shot from the point, and Madsen covers up. You know, we were hoping this would be like last year's consolation final, and it really is very similar. Last year, Burnsville had a 3 or 4 goal lead, and it looked like the Braves were on their way, but Rosso just never quit and came back and won it in overtime. And it's kind of similar to what Minnetonka has done so far this afternoon, trailing by 3, but they fought back to get on even terms. Puck behind the goal. Greg Harrison around the boards on that far side. Hannes tips it to the blue line, but it's kept in. Cleared around to the near side. Now Harrison trying to get away from the forechecking. That's the 4th line for Hibbing out of games. Terrell, Rue, and Petrie. Jim Petrie chasing after it. He falls down, and it's just cleared down the ice by Jeff Christ. And icing is the call against Minnetonka, so maybe that shift was the one that slowed down the momentum a bit.
Well, you know, I think that the Hibbing team, from what I've seen in just a very short tournament now, Chris, they have generated most of their offensive opportunities, scoring opportunities from a good, solid, intelligent forechecking game. That's the game they started with. I'm sure Coach Olson wants to stay with that game. And don't get too idealistic with the puck and think that they're going to be so creative with the puck to get those picture-perfect goals. They might have to bump and grind and muck it a little bit more.
From the face-off, it comes straight out, and this is Schottler and Urban breaking away, but it's broken up by Mike Vidmar. Vidmar and John Schwartz was decked by Wilharm. You've got to keep your head up when you're down on Wilharm's side of the ice. There's a blast just going wide off the stick of Hansen. Another shot went off the side of the mesh, and now play whistle down as the net is off its moorings. There's a break in the action. We'll be right back with the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament.
Whether you're making a business call, an emergency call, or just a friendly call, Northwestern Bell is at your service with the people and technology to make sure that phoning is as easy as, well, talking. That's Northwestern Bell.
You know, Herb, there are fans that are going to say Hibbing had Hill Murray, a 1-goal lead with less than a couple of minutes to go. They led Minnetonka by 3, and it's tied now. Maybe they lack the killer instinct. You believe in that kind of thing?
Well, yeah. You know, the total psychophysiological profile of an athlete has to be considered. There's no question about it. In this game, you're going to be hit or be hit, or move or be moved, one or the other. They both play a similar style, and it's just, you know, who's going to execute it? Who has that little extra intensity at this point?
Play in the Minnetonka zone, but they break out. Tony Schmidt tried to get loose, and now play is whistled down on an offside at the Minnetonka blue line. So what you're saying is sometimes this isn't a simple game.
No, it's not a simple game. There's no question about it. But sometimes you get belted once in a while, boy, that'll get the cobwebs out and wake you up. And maybe that's what Hibbing needs, to get knocked on their behind, and all of a sudden, hey, we're in this ball game. Now it's Consolation Championship for 11 minutes. 11-minute hockey game right now, Chris.
And here come the Skippers with Jimmy Walsh picking his way over the line. Nice pass in. Urban shoots. And it's on the line, and the net comes off the moorings. And I'm not sure how that stayed out, because it looked like Urban had made the move, pulled Hajduk, and had an open net.
Yes, Urban made a nice move coming down the left wing. Little fake shot going to the outside. That's why a goal judge is so important. A good minor official can really help those officials out on the ice. Is that, from my vantage point, that looked awful close.
Urban puts a nice move on here.
Fake,
right there.
Fake, excellent. That's what you like to see.
Looked like it was hung up against the post, and that Joe Gostad, in trying to block the shot, knocked the net off the moorings.
Yeah,
Gostad did a good job.
He did. He's a weak side defenseman covering up for his partner, Vidmar. That weak side defenseman is so darn important. You always got to think your partner's in trouble. Vidmar was in trouble. He's got to cave in and go to that angle to prevent the pass through, the shot, the rebound, whatever. In this case, he had to fill in for the goalkeeper. But he had to fill in the goalkeeper because of the excellent play of Jeff Urban. A little fake shot, froze the goalie, went to the outside, found the whole net, only to find Joe Gostad sliding in and stopping it.
Gostad saved the goal. That's
big play, an intelligent play by Joey Gostad.
His brother Sean has a goal and an assist today, but that's as important a play as anybody on the Blue Jacket team has made this afternoon. It saves Hibbing from falling a goal behind with 10:50 remaining in regulation time of this consolation final. And this is Terrell and Petrie out for Hibbing, and they tied up for a faceoff in the Minnetonka zone.
You know, Chris, I think that when you have four lines going, sometimes you're going to have to say, it's good if they're all going. And if they're not all going, I'm going to have to maybe grab a line and play them a little bit more that is going. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 if something is bogged down. Maybe the fact that they're not getting enough ice time, but if they're all, you can use four lines very effectively if they're on there quick and off there quick, and you develop that flow and that rhythm and the intensity. If not, go with the hot line, and maybe they can carry you or pick something up.
Here's John Albert up to what's been a hot line for Minnetonka. Lead pass for Renard, and Hajduk out of the net, and he cleared it away. Good play by John Hajduk, and back comes Hibbing. Doug Terrell over the line, and he is checked, and now Minnetonka starts back, but the pass for Renard failed to click. This is Doug Terrell, the freshman, and he's bodied off the puck, but it comes to Schwartz, and his shot is blocked. So they're trying to open things up, but offside is the call with 10:09 left in regulation time, a 4-4 tie.
Hibbing needs one line to spark them. And I go back to the Grillo, Kastner, and Hagen line. They looked like three excellent hockey players in a good line. They've got to reach something, reach down for something. And I keep thinking of that line, being the line that's going to get Hibbing going. And here they are right now against a line that's been playing very well, the Tommy Renaud line.
They haven't played as well, Kastner, Hagen, and Grillo, as they did in that first game against Hill Murray when they were outstanding.
Well, maybe that's what I'm waiting for, Chris. But again, going to four lines, I love four lines, a lot of games in a short period of time. But when they're there, they have to know why and how effectively you can use four lines. If you have one line or two lines that are not playing with the intensity, not coming off quickly, it just bogs it down. So then it is counterproductive. But boy, you can use it to your advantage if it's done properly.
Well, there's only 10 minutes left in their season now, so a double shift at this point might not hurt that much. It's a shot right off the point. Right off the faceoff. Madsen made a good stop. There's a pass in front for Hagen. It's broken up, and now Minnetonka starts back. It's Dave Taylor up ahead to Renard. Renard inside the line, racing after it against Kristoff. He takes him to the boards, and it comes around to the near side for Mike Grillo. Grillo out to Kastner. Here comes Kastner. Drop pass and a good one to Grillo, and he tried the pass in for Hagen, and it just failed to click. But that was a dangerous rush, and perhaps their best shift in a while. Gostad clears it out to center ice. There's a good hit by Hagen. Wilharm looking for a hit on Mike Grillo as well, as they start to play the body a bit more in this last shift. Wilharm clears it on the boards. Hannes can't clear it out. Here's a scoring chance on the backhand. It goes wide. Good chance there by Mike Grillo. So we're getting some pressure from this top line of Hibbing as they start to forecheck, but now Minnetonka carries it out with under 9 minutes to play in regulation time. There's a good hit along the boards in front of the Hibbing bench, and they go to the boards and tie it up for a face-off. There's a break in the action. We'll be right back with the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament.
Independent Lennox dealers in this area install more energy-efficient gas furnaces than all their competitors combined. Call Gens Ryan, serving the entire South suburban area.
There's one of the star players in this afternoon's game, Sean Gostad, with a goal and an assist in a span of 22 seconds in the second period when it looked like Hibbing was pulling away. But it's now 4-4, and there's Kazera with a shot knocked down. Kazera now knocked to the ice. They continue to battle away for it, and Hibbing comes up with the puck, and here they come out to center. Pete Waller's a long shot, drifts wide of the goal. In on the near side, Paul Girardi is knocked down by Wallers. Now Wilhelm sent to the ice, and Kazera follows up. Jeff Kazera off the boards, up ahead to Hannes. The big freshman is checked. Both freshmen in this tournament are playing against each other today. Number 14 for Minnetonka is Tim Hannes, and number 18 of Hibbing, Doug Terrell. Now it's Joe Gostad flipping it in just wide of Lance Madsen, and Dave Jecka with both teams making line changes. Clears it on the right wing, and this is Steve Schottler. Schottler up to the blue line, and a nice move there. Schottler works his way in. Goes behind the net, tries to center it out in front. Can't do it. Now it's cleared up to the boards, but kept in. Jimmy Walsh backhands it towards the goal. And now play whistle down as the puck was gloved ahead.
You know, both hockey clubs have to understand, as all hockey clubs have to understand, Chris, that when the puck is in deep in your zone, basically in the top of the circle back traffic, don't throw the puck away. Freeze it, get organized. Again, you might have to reverse the puck around the net, whatever. But they're trying to come up that strong side. They're turning the puck over too often, and it's causing them an awful lot of problems.
Jim Walsh against Pat Moralt on the draw. Steve Schottler clears it around behind the net. Big Jeff Urban is there. He's taken to the boards by Kristoff, and they hold it for another face-off. 7:37 left in regulation time. Both teams know all about overtime. They're on the Consolation side because of overtime losses on the opening day. From the faceoff, Nicola clears it around the boards. Hansen up to John Schwartz, but he is checked, but it's out to center. Moralt now on that right wing. This is Terrell trying to feed it back to Moralt. Moralt has a couple of goals this afternoon. Now Dave Jecka clears it out. It hits an official and comes out into the neutral zone. Overskating the puck is Nikolov, and Minnetonka sends it down into Hibbing territory. And now the Blue Jackets will try and get it out of their zone. And John Schwartz against the boards. He's all tied up. Gives way, and now here come the Blue Jackets out to center. Tom Hansen over the line, takes a bump, and there's another good hit as Terrell was decked on the play, and now Terrell dumps Dave Jecka in turn, but Jecka really laid quite a hit on it.
Chris, the Minnetonka.
Oh, we've got an icing call, Herb, and we're going to take a break with the score. Minnetonka 4, Hibbing 4. This is Hockey 85, live from the St. Paul Civic Center.
RC Cola can refresh, revive, renew. RC Cola can really get to you. Cola loving woman, Cola loving man. Nothing really gets to you like RC Cola can.
Refresh, restore,
revive, renew. Cola loving woman, Cola loving man. Nothing really gets to you like RC Cola can.
Kasner, Hagen, and Grillo up front for Hibbing. We've been talking about them, and they had a good shift their last time out. Let's see what they can do here as this game is all tied up at 4-4. Kasner in forechecking behind the goal. Puck cleared around the boards, kept in by Gostad. He clears it back around the other way. Good hit by Hagen, but out of the zone comes Dave Taylor. A lead pass for Taylor just failed to click. Taylor now at the line with Holmner, and the puck slides back, and here comes Renard. Renard has been a diligent worker here this afternoon. He clears it into the Hibbing zone. Now the Blue Jackets just send it down the ice, and this one's going right on goaltender Lance Madsen. 6 minutes, 6 seconds remaining to go in regulation time as it's passed on the right wing to Taylor. He banks it off the glass just a bit too far for Holmner. And back to get it's Jerry Kristoff. Kristoff with a nice pass on the right wing. Up ahead it goes. This is Wallers over the line to Kasner. Drop pass in, shooting. Big stop, rebound, and Madsen with 2 glorious saves. And now
in the crease,
we've got a face-off as Paul Girardi was robbed twice.
Again, why Mr. Madsen? An awful lot of poise and patience by standing up. Girardi looking right down the gun at this thing, right down the barrel. Madsen stayed with him again. Stayed with him again.
And there you see Pete Wallers in the crease, and that's why play was whistled down. So Hibbing now coming close to regaining the lead. That's Rich Bryant behind the goal. Turning's got a man in front, Girardi, but can't get him. The puck, it comes out near the line and now comes outside the line. Girardi backhands it right back in. Madsen out of the goal. First man in is Pete Wallers of Hibbing. He tried to kick it free, and now it comes up to Jeff Christ. Now Kazera. Kazera works his way to the line and over. Good burst of speed. He's checked, but Christ is following up. Kazera in the corner. Back to the point. Jekka's shot knocked down, and we may have a break for Wallers. Streaking down the right side. There's the shot, and Madsen holds on.
He didn't see Girardi coming down, but Dave Jekka really worked very hard to come back to take away that little two-on-one opportunity for Hibbing and tying up the loose man. You don't want to give up any 2-on-1s, any manpower disadvantages at this stage of the game, or any time of the game for that matter. But no 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s, or pick up those trailers. Don't leave anybody unchecked at this point.
4 minutes, 55 seconds left in regulation time. A 4-4 tie in the consolation final between Minnetonka and Hibbing. And here's a loose puck for Schottler out in front. There's a shot. Hajduk the save. Schottler over-skated the rebound as it looked like all he had to do was flip it up high. Both teams coming awfully close in what's turned out to be just a super hockey game. Now it's Schottler's. His pass hits a man, and here's a break. Backhand Madsen with the stop off Moralt. Doug Terrell takes his man out. It comes back to the point. There's a shot with Steve Terrell in front. And now Jim Walsh clears it down the ice, and it's icing the call against Minnetonka with the score still 4-4. This is Hockey 85 live from the St. Paul Civic Center.
We'd like to thank someone special for seeing us through the tough times.
Thank you, America.
We're thanking you, America, with 8.8 financing on new Omnis, Chargers, and Daytonas. With Thank You, America discount packages on selected cars, up to $500 cash back on selected trucks.
We're also thanking America with free Aries automatic transmissions to our dealers so they can pass along the savings to you.
Thank you, America.
So come on in and see how we'll thank you.
At your Vikingland Dodge dealer today.
Well, close calls at either end, but a great opportunity for Minnetonka here. There's the save by Hajduk, and then the rebound seemed to hop over the stick of Schottler. I think he tried to sneak a peek at where he was going to shoot it and just lost the puck.
Big save by Johnny Hajduk.
Right now, it's a battle between Hajduk and Madsen.
That's for sure. Both goalies have played well, despite giving up 4 goals.
From the faceoff, there's a backhanded shot off the stick of Doug Terrell, and it was blocked, and out comes Tom Renard. Nice move. Renard in, but was off balance and shot wide of the goal, and now it's up on the mesh. And we'll have a face-off outside the blue line as it came off the stick of a Minnetonka player.
I think defensemen should again use their goalkeeper. Don't overreact too early on those offensive rushes, allowing somebody to cut back through the high slot and start throwing that puck going away from the goalie. Give him the outside, set up that shot for the goalie.
Down to 3:48 left in regulation time of this consolation final. And we might have overtime for the second straight year in this game. Here's Renard diving to try and keep it in the zone. Loose puck. Dave Taylor chops it, but now Gostad comes out. Good right wing pass, just a bit too far. In after it goes Hagen. Hagen is there looking for it, but now Minnetonka gains possession, and it's Dave Taylor. His pass behind Renard goes down ice, and Mike Vidmar up on the boards. Nobody there wearing a white uniform, and now play is whistled down as both teams were changing lines, and it looked like they had a lot of people out there. Well, there's a Minnetonka fan. How do you like that?
That's a future left winger, Chris. I think Minnetonka's got to start shortening the shifts up. Stevie Walsh line getting caught out a little bit. Renard's line got caught out a little longer. They're going to say, hey, we're going 3, they're going 4. Let's be intelligent, on our changes, where we're changing, when we're changing. But they're staying out maybe just a little extra. And I'm seeing that they're laboring coming back and all checking assignments.
From the faceoff, Minnetonka clears it down into the Hibbing zone. That's Joe Gostad, who had possession. Now they pile up in the corner, get another faceoff. You're right, we haven't seen as much of the Minnetonka third line as we have of the other two, and that really does put an extra bit of stress at this point in the tournament on those first two lines.
Yeah, it's almost like he's going 1-2, half a 3, 1-2, half a 3 type of thing. He's telling Kuzera line to come, they're on and off. Now they might be changing accordingly in what Coach Erickson wants, but Walsh and Renard, their lines are getting caught out a little bit too long right now. They're pressing for that goal.
This might mean, though, that the third line for Minnetonka is a bit pressure at this point. Let's see if that's a factor. Here's Hagen over the line. Tried to feed Kasner, but it's called on the offside.
No one is worried about any matchups right now, but I'd be awful concerned if I'm the other coach about Jeff Yurban, Stevie Walsh, and Schlattler. And my gut feeling says the Grillo, Kasner, and Hagen line, can put that puck away. So do you want those changeups? Do you have those type of checkers that you want to assign, or are you just going to say that they all have those checking responsibilities that go along with the offensive responsibilities?
Herb, one of the teams has called a timeout here. I'm not sure which one, but at this point, it's probably a good move with 2:54 remaining.
Well, there's no question. You might want to get organized now and just talk over, some of the things you're going to have to do with and without the puck, but you want to emphasize a good transition right now. A snap, you lose it, jump into your checking game. If you regain it, quick headman the puck, win that race to that red line, get the puck up ice. Just play what I always call the circle rules. The top of the circles in both end zones, no flat stuff, deep in, behind the circles and deep. Again, don't be too idealistic. Go laterally behind the net, freeze the puck, real short angle passes, whatever. But it's just a matter of percentages now. All club want to play the percentages, stay away from the penalties, especially the up ice type penalties. If you do get one, make it one that's going to affect the goal. All the little things that you have to be concentrating on now. Get all shots on net, someone going to the net, look, tip, screen, what have you. That's what they're talking about right now. These things are important. Even though that the intensity and the momentum and the anxieties are up there, they're hearing those little buzzwords that they've heard in pre-game meetings and chalk talks, and it's just reacquainting them with some good, solid hockey.
2:54 left on the clock. These two teams have played up to their pre-tournament rankings. Hibbing rated the #2 school in the state going into this tournament, while Minnetonka was ranked #5, and there's no question these are two of the best teams in Minnesota.
It could be a championship final, in all due respect to the two clubs that are playing in it.
These two teams were beaten in overtime in their first round action. Heartbreakers, or else they may have had a shot at the state championship. But right now, the consolation final would do nicely. Thank you. Here comes Hibbing. A pass cleared across the goal crease, now put back into the corner. Kasner, Hagen, and Grillo are out for Hibbing, but here come the skippers down the ice. And this is Jim Walsh back again after that. And it's called on the offside, but they had a chance to go right back to that Walsh line after the timeout.
Little subtle checking assignment by Hibbing that helped them out, pushing the guy offside, way on the other side. Referee didn't get a good look at it. Pushed Jeff Urban offside, breakdown, giving Hibbing an opportunity to get a fresh line out there. But we know now, all of a sudden, we got Walsh's line out, going again the last part of a somewhat of a long shift against a fresh Hibbing line.
Hibbing has made a line change. They've got Bryant, Girardi, and Wallers out there. Irvin banks it off the boards, looking for Schottler. Irvin tries to follow up and gets it into the Hibbing zone. And that's Joe Gostad with it. Off the glass, can't clear the zone. Here's a chance. Holdner put it wide of the goal with under 2 minutes to play in regulation time. Dave Jecka flips it to the blue line. This is Gostad. Gostad on the right wing as they move in. A cross ice pass for Bryant failed to click. Wallers goes after it again. He bumped off the puck, and Urban clears it out to center. Minnetonka tries to put it into the Hibbing zone. That fails to work. And now in the center ice area, Steve Schottler fighting for it, but Steve Terrell takes over, and he risks a shot wide of the goal. Wilhelm backhands it to the line, kept in. Now Dave Jecka will try and get it out, but he's forechecked, and here's Hibbing beating it back to the point. Kristoff off the boards in the corner. It's centered by Maralt, and Schwartz was all tied up, couldn't get a shot away. Out to center it goes, and now fired back in by Hibbing. This is how they played early in the second period when they gained control of the action. 1 minute left to go in regulation time. We might be headed to overtime once again. Tom Hansen falls in his own zone. This could be dangerous, but he's going to freeze it for a face-off, and that's a good move once he's out of the play like that.
I was just watching both coaches, Chris, to see what line they want to finish, see how they're going to short to a certain line combination, bring them up, try to finish with the proper people, keep your proper people rested in that last 2 minutes, last minute and a half. Those where you want your 5 best hockey players, not necessarily offensive hockey players, but all-around hockey players out there to finish that period.
Well, after going through quadruple overtime, Minnetonka would just as soon get this one over with without headed into the extra session. But from the face-off, it's Hibbing that brings it out to center. And this is Pat Maralt over the line. His shot goes wide around the glass, and it's kept in. Good play by John Schwartz. But now, following up is Schottler. He takes a hit, tries to continue, but the Blue Jackets intercept. And this is Schwartz over the line to Hansen on the right wing. Here's a break and a shot at Madsen with a game saver right there.
Every young goalkeeper could take a lesson from Mr. Madsen. He makes a nice move to his left, moves out, and held the position. It's just a little waiting game right now. And if he moves too early, who knows what can happen.
That was Pat Maralt cruising in, looking for his hat trick. And you can't play it any better than that from a goaltender's point of view.
It's a good offensive opportunity for Hibbing, and also a big save by Mr. Madsen. I like this kid. I liked him last night, the way he had that patience. I think every coach likes that type of goalkeeper. You don't need an acrobat in there, and the crowd is going ooh and ah. He's flopping all over the place. A lot of pucks will just hit him if you just have the proper angles and have the patience.
20 seconds left in regulation time, and here comes Jeff Urban. Urban can break a game open with one rush. He puts the brakes on, looks for an open man, feeds it back to the right point. There's a shot by Wilhelm. It's broken up. Now does Hibbing have time to get a rush going? They clear it in over the line. Kasner goes flying, but that's going to do it. And we're headed to an 8-minute sudden death overtime period, and it will be the 5th overtime period for the Minnetonka Skippers. You know, you were talking about Lance Madsen, who was one of the key men in this game this afternoon. And what I also like about Madsen is he is a young guy that lost his job about 2 weeks ago, his starting assignment, and he's really responded well. He didn't go home and sulk. He's come back and proved that he's a pretty darn good goaltender himself.
Yes, I'd like to see that Dave Ray. If Madsen was number 2, this Rayo must be a heck of a goalkeeper, but they're both coming back, so Minnetonka can look forward to some excellent goalkeeping next year.
This is Hockey 85, continuing coverage of the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament.